When I was 8 years old, I saw my dead uncle smiling at me from the back of the church. No one else could see him. Then people started dropping, seizing, frothing at the mouth, as if something was crawling inside their brains. The doctors called it mass hysteria. But I knew the truth. My uncle wasn't really dead. And 30 years later, he sent me a message from beyond the grave. Turn on the machine in 2044. Now, the day is almost here, and I don't know if I'm the only one who can stop him, or the one who's supposed to help him come back. It was when the priest walked down the aisle that I first noticed him. Uncle Ross. Somehow he was alive and well, standing near the back, wearing a black suit, and beaming with his typical Cheshire cat smile. The very same Uncle Ross who was lying in the open casket by the dais. I grabbed my mother's arm and whispered, "Do you see him?" "Huh. Uncle Ross. Over there." "Not now, Jacob." No one else in the church seemed remotely aware that the living dead were among them. The focus was on the sermon. "We gather here today in love, sorrow, and remembrance," the priest began. When I looked back, Uncle Ross was sitting a row closer than before. He tugged at his peppery beard and looked at me with his wild green eyes. "Hey, Jakey." Unwittingly, I let out a scream. The priest paused. Everyone looked at me. My mother grabbed me by the shoulder. "Jacob, what's wrong?" Can't you see him?" "See who?" Everyone gave me the side eye, clearly perturbed by the spasm of a young boy. No one seemed to notice the obviously visible, smiling Uncle Ross amidst the crowd. I pointed to where I saw him, standing 3 pews down. "Uncle Ross," I said, half whispering, half confused. My mother glanced back and shook her head. She grabbed my hand with a stern look. "Are you going to behave?" Everyone was looking at where I had pointed to. No one appeared to notice Uncle Ross. But I could see him. In fact, my uncle smiled at me, looked around himself and shrugged in a joking way as if to say, "Uncle Ross, haven't seen him." I turned and closed my eyes. There was no way this was happening. There was no way this was happening. I focused on the priest, on the old, warblithe tenor of his voice. A grandson, brother, and a lifelong employee of CERN, our dearly departed, made several significant contributions in his life. He had, as many said, a brilliant mind, and always lit up any room he was in. I grit my teeth and glanced back. Uncle Ross was gone. In his spot, empty air. And then a calloused grip touched on my wrist. I looked up. Uncle Ross sitting beside me. A single finger on his lips. Shoo. A moment ago the spot beside me was bare, and now my uncle smiled, giggling through his teeth. Fear froze me stiff. "Just pretend I'm not here, Jakey. Don't mind me any mind." My mother hadn't turned an inch. She was ignoring me and watching the priest. "Isn't it funny?" Uncle Ross chuckled. He was speaking on a wavelength that clearly only I could hear. "All these clodpoles think I'm dead. They think I'm dead, Jakey. But that's not my real body. No, that's just the duplicate. That's just the decoy." I turned away from this ghost and kept my eyes on the priest. I didn't know what was happening, but I knew it wasn't supposed to be happening. "I chose you on purpose, Jakey. You were the youngest. It had to be you." My uncle's breath felt icy on my ear. My whole neck was seizing up. "You'll be the one to turn on the machine in 50 years. That's all I need you to do. Turn on the machine in 2044. I'll tell you more when the time comes." He cleared his throat and patted my right knee. My entire lower body seized up too. Uncle Ross left his seat and walked out into the front aisle. "You and I versus the world, kid. Now how about we make this funeral memorable, huh?" Uncle Ross grinned. "Let's commemorate a little." He walked up onto the dais and stood right next to the Reverend. Although we lost him in an unfortunate accident, his warmth, his influence, and of course, his scientific contributions will live on for many decades to come. Uncle Ross lifted his hand, made a fist, and then calmly phased it through the priest's head. It's as if my uncle was a hologram. Then Uncle Ross' pudgy 2 fingers poked out of the priest's eyes, as if the priest was being gouged from the inside. The pudgy fingers wiggled and swam around the old man's entire scalp. The Holy Father froze. A glazed look befell his eyes. Silence in the church. Everyone's breath stopped. "Father Remy is everything?" The priest collapsed to the floor, flipping and contorting violently. The seizure made him roll, spasm, and audibly tear ligaments. "Oh my goodness. Someone help." A thin man in a tweed suit stepped out from the front. Someone from Uncle Ross' work. The tweed man cleared all of the fallen candles off the stage, and sat beside the spasming Reverend, protecting the old man's arms from hitting the podium. "And look there, Jakey." Uncle Ross hunched over, standing over top of the tweed man. "That's Leopold. Look at him, such a good Samaritan. My uncle pointed at Leopold's head. This colleague of mine was the only one smart enough to understand my work. He knew what I was trying to accomplish in particle physics. Uncle Ross walked over, his legs phasing through the struggling priest, and then squatted right beside his colleague. And now he shall know no more. My uncle wrapped Leopold in a bear hug, phasing into his entire head and torso. The back of my uncle's head was superimposed over Leopold's shocked face. Blood gushed out of Leopold's nose. He fell and joined the priest, seizuring violently on the stage. Dear God! Leo! Everyone stared at the dais. There were now two convulsing men whipping their arms back and forth, smacking themselves into the podium. My mom moved to help, but I yanked her back. No. Get away. Jacob, what are you? My aunt's scream was deafening. She watched in horror as her husband also fell. He rolled in the aisle, frothed at the mouth, and joined the contagious seizure spreading throughout the church. My uncle stood above him, laughing. Flopping like fish. I tugged with inhuman strength. That's how my mother always described it, inhuman strength. I pulled us both down between the pews and out the back of the church. After dragging my mom into the parking lot, I screamed repeatedly to open the car and drive. Drive, drive, drive. My heart was in pure panic. I remember staring out the back seat of my mom's speeding Honda, watching my uncle casually phase through funeral attendees, leaving a trail of writhing and frothing epileptics. As our car turned away, my uncle cupped around his mouth and yelled, "Remember, Jakey, you'll be the one to turn on the machine. You'll be the one to bring me back." I was 8 years old when that incident happened. Of course, no one believed me. And my mother attributed my wild imagination to the trauma of the event. It was described as a mass psychogenic illness. A freak occurrence unexplainable by the police, ambulance, or anyone else. Most of the epileptic episodes ended and people returned to normalcy. Sadly, some of the older victims, like the priest, passed away. I'm in my late 30s now. And although you may not believe me, that story is true. My whole life I've been living in fear. Horrified by the idea of encountering Mad Uncle Ross yet again. He was said to have lost his mind amongst academic circles, spending his last year at CERN on probation for equipment abuse. People had reportedly seen him shoot high-powered UV lasers into his temples. He became obsessed with something called particle decoherence, a theory that was thoroughly debunked as impossible. I've seen him in nightmares. I've seen him in bathroom reflections. Sometimes I can feel his icy cold breath on my neck. I've seriously been worried almost every day of my life that he's going to reappear again at some large group gathering and cause havoc. But thankfully that hasn't happened. Not yet. However, I have a feeling it will happen again soon. You see, yesterday I had a visitor. Although graying and blind in one eye, I still recognized Leopold from all those years ago. He came out of the blue with a package at my apartment, and said that there had been a discovery regarding my late uncle. It was an old basement room hidden behind a wall, Leopold said. The only reason we discovered it was because the facility was undergoing renovations. He lifted a small cardboard box and placed it on my kitchen counter. We don't know how it's possible, but we discovered your uncle's skeleton inside. I blinked. What? A skeleton wearing Ross' old uniform and name tag anyway. He was inside some kind of makeshift cryogenic machine. The rats had long ago broken in, gnawed him to the bone. He swiveled the box to me and undid a flap. I was visiting town and wanted to say hello to your mother. But after discovering this, I thought I should visit you first. I emptied the box's contents, discovered a small cotton cap with many ends. Like a jester's cap. It looked like it was fashioned for the head of a small child. Perhaps an 8-year-old boy. As I'm sure you know, your uncle was not well of mind in his final months at Geneva. We could all see it happening. He was advised to see many therapists. I don't believe he did. I rotated the cap in my hands, hearing the little bells jingle on each tassel. But I knew he always liked you. He spoke highly of his nephew. I looked into Leopold's remaining colored eye. He did? Why? Oh, I think he saw you as a symbol of the next generation. That whatever he discovered could be passed down to you as a next of kin. That's my sense of it. There was a bit of black stitching on the front of the red cap. Pretty cursive letters. I stretched out the fabric. I don't know what he meant with this gift, but we found it within his cobwebbed and dilapidated machine. I feel certain he wanted you to have it. I read the whole phrase. You and I versus the world, kid. I bit my lip. A razor wire of fear coiled around my throat. I swallowed it away. So how did you find his skeleton at CERN? Didn't we already bury his body a long time ago? Leopold folded up the empty cardboard box with his pale old fingers. Your uncle was an enigma his whole life. No one knew why he jumped into that reactor 30 years ago. Leo walked back to my doorway. I could tell that the topic was not a comfortable one to discuss. I've spent a notable portion of my life trying to figure out what your uncle was thinking. But it's led me nowhere. His theory of particle decoherence was sadly proven false. I wanted to offer Leopold a coffee or something. He had only just arrived, but he was already wrapping his scarf back around his neck. Hey, you don't have to leave just yet. Some kind of heavy weight fell upon Leopold. Something too dark to explain. He took a few deep breaths and then, quite abruptly, grabbed both of my shoulders. He wanted you to have it okay. Just take it. Take the cap. What? Whatever you do, Jacob, just stay away from him. If you see him again, run. Don't look at him. Don't talk to him. Don't pay him any attention. Wait, Leopold, what are you? Your uncle is supposed to be dead, Jacob. And no matter what promises you, he's lying. Your uncle is supposed to be dead. He's supposed to be goddamn dead.